Particularly financial support was one during the G20 summit from others for the Eurozone. Can the Europeans come out of these crises on their own?
Yes, I guess they have no alternative. What is disappointing is the fact that this G20 meeting, which was supposed to tackle major issues such as the world trade imbalance, slow growth, and the currency issue, ended up by waiting to see what happens in Europe. In other words, I think this was a failure, not for G20, but a definite failure for European countries and European Union that had to take their internal problem, their own problem, to the G20 and consume most of the time of this important annual meeting. So I believe, yes, the Europeans will manage, but they are going to need help, and they are going to need help most probably from IMF, not necessarily from China or from Russia, but they definitely need to have help from IMF. IMF has to expand, IMF has to increase its reserves, and eventually it has to work as the lending of last resort, like a central bank for the world.
All right, Mr. Steinbach, what's the G20 summit being hijacked by the internal problems of the Eurozone? Do you agree with what Mr. Fatemi said? And secondly, is there a real concrete plan being enlisted in the action plan of the G20 summit this time about the expansion of the IMF role and the implementation of it?
They are difficult questions. The slogan of this IMF the G20 meeting was about the new ideas and the new world. It's sad to say I truly agree with Professor Fatemi that it was hijacked by the Eurozone, and more specifically by Greece in this case. It really was about old ideas and from the old world. And so far as it focused on the situation in Greece, unfortunately the situation in Greece has a potential to create contagion effect that's European-wide. Now we have a situation where no longer it's a question of a small European country which accounts for 2 to 3% of the total Eurozone GDP, but Italy and Spain that account for 25% together. And I believe, unfortunately, that we're getting close to a point where Italy might have a problem paying the interest rates if they go beyond 6.5 to 7%.
Right.
And they might go for reasons that have nothing to do with Italy.
All right. Mr. Lee, do you agree with what Mr. Steinbach said?